Are you ready to complete your beautiful birch tree mixed medium artworks? I'm ready to show you how.
Hello, my talented artists.
Don't forget to subscribe if you love these lessons and give me a thumbs up. Click the bell and do all that stuff you're supposed to do. We are going to be using two different types of charcoal. Compressed charcoal, which is very dark, and vine charcoal, which is much softer and can be smoothed and blended and lightened up and kind of even erased a little bit, just with your fingers. Now that we've finished painting our background, it's time to peel the tape. Now we know that we put the branches on last, so we should take them off first. So if you start peeling and you notice something is ripping, stop and try to get it from the other end. I'm going to make a little tape ball. It is quite fun to peel these. This one definitely got under a little, but that's fine. Also, go slow, and I would turn it over and stick your finger on and then kind of just pull it back. I have found that there is the least amount of ripping paper by doing that way. So gently scrape it up. And the reason why we wait to peel the tape until it's dry is that the paper has had time to strengthen, and we know that water weakens things. It weakens paper, it weakens clay, right? So we want our paper to get strong again and dry out before we peel that tape. Let's peel all of the branches before we peel the trunks. Tape ball. Time to get those branches finished. Peel those branches. Now we're going to do the same thing with the trunks. Be very careful. Press it down and pull it. Nice masked off part of my paper. What I have experienced is that if you keep your tape nice and low, pulling it as you press it against the paper, you will have fewer tearing incidences. Sometimes the paper kind of tears a little bit, and we want to avoid that. Oop, you can see a little bit of rippage here, so I'm going to slow down. If you see ripping, you know what? It's ripping more. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to go in from the other end. Oop, this one seems rippy too. Huh. I'm going to actually just run my nail on it. Oop, not really helping. Okay, now I'm going to go to the side. Oh, you get to see all the techniques. Okay, now I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to pull it from the side to side. This does help. Ah, see? I stopped the rippage. Yay! Slow and low. That is the tempo. If you want to pull the tape off without rippage, you want to go slow. Not too much rippage. I was able to stop the rippage. Alrighty, it is your turn to peel that tape and get your trees ready for the next step. Pause the lesson here until all the students have removed all of their tape. Now we have 3 beautifully white trees, but they don't really look like trees yet because they are flat. We need some value. Let's talk about value. Let's talk about V-A-L-U-E. Value is the range from dark to light. It can be in a color, So it could be dark, dark red to light, light red. If you're painting an apple maybe, or a fire truck. Or it can just be a grayscale, and that's what we are going to be dealing with today because, again, here are some beautiful birch trees, and you can see how there is a shadow because of the light. Some of the tree is shaded while the other part is highlighted. So a trunk is basically a cylinder shape. Here is a cylinder that's shaded with just black and white. I want you to look carefully and see how the cylinder has darks and lights. And the darks and lights, or the values, is what makes a cylinder look three-dimensional. Let's start with our vine charcoal. You're probably going to start off with a little piece because vine charcoal breaks real fast. And don't throw away little tiny pieces. We'll use them all. Just put them in your little vine charcoal cups and we will use them. So I want you to think about where you want your shading, and I want it to be the same on each of your trees. So you can either do a line up the middle of each tree, or you can do it on the right side of each tree, or you can do it on the left side of each tree. It's up to you. I'm going to do the middle. I'll just do the middle. So I'm just going to do a line. Ooh, this charcoal needs a little help. I'm going to do a line or some little lines up the center. There we go. We got it started. The nice thing about trees, or drawing something that is natural, is that it is not mathematical in the way that it doesn't have to be precise. Little quirky lines or shifts or changes, bumps or wiggles, that actually just makes it look more natural. So I'm not worried about it being a perfectly straight line going up. In fact, I'm going to do different lines as I go up the tree, but I do want to make sure that there is vine charcoal from one end of the tree to the other end, and I want to make sure that if I do it in the middle on this tree, I do it on the middle of this tree, and I also do it in the middle of this tree. So I'm just going to draw a line on this one. This vine charcoal is a little bit weak. I'm going to do some little lines just so that I have a little more charcoal dust to work with shading. Now, I also want you to shade the branches. The branches are also cylinders, and I'm going to draw a line from that center shadow, because that's what that's going to be, all the way down the center of each branch. And again, wherever you do the shadow on one branch, you should do it on all of them. If you have it on the top, do it on the top on all. If you have it in the middle, I've just chosen to do the middle for all of them. Now, you see how this branch looks like it is behind or on top of this tree? That's because I already drew this line. If I want this branch from this tree to look like it's going behind, I need to stop the shading and jump. But I've decided that actually, this is the cool thing about vine charcoal. I'm going to erase this line with my finger. It doesn't really erase it. It just blends out the gray, makes it lighter. I'm going to have the branch be on top. And that also means that there's going to be a shadow on each side. And just to remind myself, I'm going to make a line that continues the branch and shows that this skinny tree is behind this bigger middle tree. And this one is going to go behind. I'm going to have this one look like it's behind. So I'm going to draw that little line to show that this branch is in the shadow behind this tree. Okay, once I have a line that will be the shadows on all of my trunks and all my branches, it's now time to blend. And you did see me blending with my finger, but if you don't want to get your fingers dirty, you can blend with a little piece of paper towel. Okay, so I'm just going to actually wrap this paper towel around my finger, but if you want to, you can just roll this up like this, and you can blend like that. And what we're trying to do is we want to keep part of the tree white, but have a little shadow. We want it to blend. We don't really want it to look like a line as much as a shading. That looks good. I'm going to wrap it and see how that feels. Wrap my finger in that paper towel. Oh, I gotta stop because I don't want to blend over that branch. I want to be very careful that that stays under. And do the other side for you. Let's look at some birch trees. Here's a photo of a birch tree, and you can see that they definitely have different shades of dark gray to white. Let's look at what we see that is gray or black. What do you guys see in this photo that is gray or black in the birch trees? Let's describe what we see. Let's look at two more images, two more photos of birch trees, and make some observations about what kind of shapes or lines we see that are gray or black. Excellent. Let's try to draw what we've described. So one of the things that we've described are those circle shapes with the eyebrows that look like eyes. So I'm going to do one right here. So it starts with kind of a curve up, right? And then there's a circle. Parts are darker than other parts, and we can just leave it like that. Now, there's another type of eye that I saw. Still starts with a curve up like an eyebrow, and then it had a tiny little dot right there. Like not a tiny little dot, but a littler circle, like that. I'm gonna do one that looks like it's going around the side of the tree by just doing half of an eyebrow shape and half of that sort of circular eye pupil shape. Whoops, I just realized I'm doing them upside down. That's okay, folks. What I didn't say is that we are now going to switch to the compressed charcoal. And it's not so easy to rub that out. But since birch trees do have shades of gray, I'm going to see how much I can rub out of these lines. And everybody makes mistakes. That's okay. I just realized my sky's up here and my grass is down there. I'm going to rub it out a little bit. And I am going to make some going the way that I think is what I've observed more, which is the eyebrow or the eyelid on top, and then the circle that looks kind of like a pupil. I don't fill it in all the way because I don't think they look filled in. And just get back to where we started. Some are going off the side. We are using the compressed charcoal for the black and the darker areas because compressed charcoal is darker. Another thing that we observed were little lines. The curve of the cracks in the bark that we see, those little darker gray lines, they show the curve of the cylindrical trunk. So what I want you to do is I want you to decide which way you're going to do your curves and just stick with that. So it should be kind of straight in the middle, and then you should curve a little. Shouldn't curve too much. It is a very faint curve. It doesn't have as big as a curve as the eyes, but it definitely has a curve, and that shows that the trunk of the tree has a curve to it. I like to do little clusters of them. I can draw over that eye that I kind of erased. Sometimes it's nice to have sort of these ghost lines that we start and we can only semi-erase. Another thing we noticed is that some of the smaller branches were very dark. I'm going to take my compressed charcoal and color in one or two of my really skinny branches, and then I'm going to take my paper towel and kind of rub it in. But I want to leave some highlights so you can see it's a little bit lighter at the top, so it has some value. This is a skinny one, so I'm going to color this one in pretty dark, and then I'm going to blend it a little bit. We also observed that the thicker branches also had those eyes, and they also had the curved lines. And you, again, sort of decide which way you want your curves to go, and you need to stick with that direction.
I bet you are ready to get your compressed charcoal and draw your details.
I am so excited to see how you guys finish these beautiful artworks.
It's the final push.